everybody. I am here to show you some craft techniques. I realized I didn't actually create an event, and so I'm not late like I thought I was, but I'm doing this with like 4 different apps. So I'm just really hoping that you guys can see what I'm doing. And now you're going to be able to hear me. So let me turn that down. So I'm going to start by changing cameras. And what you should be able to see now, with it, is my die cutting machine. I only sell one die cutting machine. It's because I really believe in their quality. This is the Spellbinders Platinum. This is the big one, and I also sell the little one. They're a little more expensive than maybe your general craft die machine. This is 100. The small one's 110, and this one was 200 bucks. But I really do believe in them. This one is older than the shop. I've had it since before I opened the shop, and I have put it through its paces. And I have broken dies and I have broken pressure plates, but I've never ever in any way damaged this thing as it as a workhorse. So I'm going to start. I'll show you the example. I wanted to show you how to make this cute little gift box. I don't know if you can see it. Let's get it in focus. It's so it's a die, and it cuts 3 pieces. It cuts the box, the lid, and the insert, which holds the gift card. And then I'm going to show you how to make the poinsettia to go on top. So I'm going to start by cutting the box. And so the die for this is a Sizzix, actually. They're compatible with these machines. You just have to find the right pressure plates to use with them. Sorry, this is the box gift card. Number 659722, and I do sell it in the store. I will put that up when I at the end. And so I'm going to start, because it's wide, it does not need a platform. It just goes straight into the machine the way it is. And so I need to, the piece of paper isn't long enough to cover the whole die. I'm trying to get a good angle on this. So I am cutting the paper. It just doesn't, it's not quite long enough. So I'm going to cut first these 2 pieces of it. And so I'm going to put it into the machine. It doesn't need the platform, but it does need the pressure plate. So I have the double pressure plates. You can also use, there's a single pressure plate that you can get that's the right size, that has the same size as these 2 together. So I'm going to crank it through. And you'll see, oops, I didn't actually get that. That's one thing you got to be aware of, is that this was the pressure plate didn't actually cover the end, and so it didn't cut it. So I'm just going to turn it over and cut it again. Proof that this is live, doesn't go as planned. Get through. All right, and that moved when I did it, so there you go. Okay, now I'm going to cut the box piece. And there's no direction on these machines, so I'm just going to go back the other direction. That's fine. So there's the base. And because I have messed myself up, you know what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut that interior plate out in green, because that's what's right here in front of me. I don't have to run off and get anything else. So in place, please. Make sure the pressure plate covers the whole thing. Crank it. And now I have my 3 elements from the box die. So I can set aside the die. And then I've got my lid, the insert, and the box. Now to make the poinsettia, this is the flower. I'm going to use this die from Sizzix is a thinlit die, so I am going to need my platform this time. So that's this big white piece. It's nice and thick. It's going to go down, and I want to cut 5 layers. I have 4 dies. I have 5 dies if you include the leaf, but I have, oh no, I have 3 dies. So let's see, how many did I count? 1, 2, 3. Actually, I only counted, cut 4. Now these pieces that I messed up on are not wasted because I can use them to cut these flower pieces since they're the same color paper. 1, 2, and 3. Let's see, maybe this one. We're playing around to get the best. All right, I'm not gonna freak myself out. I'm gonna get some more paper. So I'm gonna cut these 2. So this is the same 2 pressure plates on top of the platform with the die sandwiched between it on top of the paper that I want to cut. The big thing is to make sure that you have the die edge down. So these have a little edge to them. Hopefully you can see that. And a flat side. The one way that you can ruin a die is if you don't pay attention, and when they go through the machine, one of them ends up over the other, and then you get divots in your die edge. So that's that. I have ruined my dies that way before. I'm gonna get some more paper. Fortunately, I didn't have to go very far for that. I'm just gonna cut a piece, and now I'm going to cut another big one. And now I have room to cut that medium one as well. And I'll have paper left over. Put this down. Crank it through. Hey, Lois. Morning. Now I have my pieces, depending on how elaborate poinsettia, you can cut more. The one that I did here and the one that's on the cover of the die is really only 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. I think it's only 4 layers. I might cut one extra one though and make it just a little bit more. One extra of the medium one. So I'll have 2 big ones, 2 medium ones, and a little one. One of those poinsettias. We used to have them all the time growing up for Christmas. Those and paper whites. She loves paper whites. I can't stand paper whites. I'm one of those people that the smell smells revolting to me. I guess it's one of those things like asparagus where you smell something and it doesn't smell good. And then now I want to do the leaves, so I'm going to go and get some green. This one's a little brighter than the green I used before, but that's okay. It's completely up to you. So just feel a little more jolly, a little less traditional Christmassy. I'm just going to cut 2 of those. Nice thing about the Sizzix dies, I have to say, is that they come as separate pieces. They don't come clipped together, which is some brands do that and you have to clip them apart. And every single one is labeled with the number on it so that you can't misplace it. You'll always know which set it belongs to. So there we go. That's the machine piece of this done. So I'm going to set it aside. And now I have my elements. Let me get all this extra stuff out of the way so that we can focus. Die pieces. refocus. See if I can't get this for you. There's, all right. So there we go. Now I have the box and the flower elements all together in one place. It's pretty simple. I'm going to be using a couple things to help elaborate on it. Now, when you want to do something, I always keep my extra papers nearby so that I can play around with it and see if the things I want to use look good before I go ahead and use them. So I'm going to be putting these on my flower pieces. Okay, so I'm going to start by making my box. The box is pretty easy, very self-explanatory. You're just going to fold it along the score lines. There are score lines in there. I don't know if it's very clear, but there are, I promise. Just a little bit. There, this one, maybe you can see. Oh, we're going to ignore that. Just pretend this is just a demo after all. When you do the boxes, you're going to fold up these tabs on the sides. So that you can see that it's going to create this little box. And then today, I'm going to use double-sided tape. Normally, I'd use glue for myself, but this is going to be faster and easier. And I want to put the double-sided tape up along the fold, not on the ends of the tab, because when you fold it over, what you want is the corner to be crisp. You don't want a gap. So if you put the double-sided tape too far away from the corner, it will gap. So you want it right along that edge. Thank goodness I have fingernails at the moment, or this would be a lot harder. And I'm not kidding, I have struggled over double-sided tape in the past. At some point, be a little tricky to separate. Okay. So now, the one thing about double-sided tape, of course, is that you only get one chance to stick it without risking ripping it if you have to move it again. So, being really careful before I squeeze it shut. Make sure it's where I want it to be. Okay, there is my little box. How fast and cute is that? Now, of course, this is a Christmas theme, but this box is, it's just a box. You can do whatever you want. Birthday, Hanukkah, New Year's, congratulations on surviving the 2020, whatever your theme is. You can choose a nice paper to go with it, and you wouldn't even have to decorate it. You just put it together and using a nice paper pack. I got all this brand new Stamperia stuff, which is just, I have to say, stunningly beautiful designs. Called something Voyager. And I think maybe I'll make another one with that because it's such pretty stuff. All right, so one thing to do, if you have double-sided tape and it's longer than your piece, obviously you can cut it. But another thing you can do is, if you don't want to waste the adhesive, is you can just roll it into the part that you want it to adhere to. So you have all the more adhesive to cover that corner. Sorry, keep forgetting I got to make sure you can see it. I can see it. I see it just fine. Double-sided tape dribbles. There we go. This is excellent double-sided tape, I have to say. This is the Elizabeth Craft stuff, and it has nice hold, pretty easy to work with. Comes in a bunch of sizes. And just like all their stuff's very high quality. It's one of my favorite brands right now is Elizabeth Craft. In terms of paper crafting, they've got some really beautiful things out right now, some of which I have in the store, which maybe I'll do that next week. Almost there. Fiddly stuff this is. Okay. There we go. So there's my basic box. What did that take me? 10 minutes? 15? And that's with me, talking to you guys. So if you just want to make a quick little gift card box, or, this isn't a bad investment overall. If you have a die cutting machine, then the die is actually really worth it if you're going to be making gift boxes, on a regular basis. It's a great die, and it's lots of options. But the option that I chose this time is the flower to put a poinsettia on it. And so grab some bits and okay, I'm going to show you this toolkit. This is a kit from, or tool from Heartfelt Creations, which I haven't done in a while. I haven't used their stuff in a while. But this is their flower forming kit. And basically, it's this tool. Let's see if I can get this out a little bit more so you can see what I'm doing. It's this tool. That's what it is. Here we go. And it has these, you can put more than one on, depending on how intricate you want to get. This is a fairly big die, so I'm going to use this one here. And basically, it allows you to shape paper into sort of petal shapes. And but before I do that, I am going to embellish a little bit. So I'm going to use this Campfire Distress Ink. This is a dye ink, not the pigment. This is the one that's a little darker. It'll go down a little darker and it'll soak in a little more. So I thought this was a nice compliment. And I am putting it down before I wet my flowers, because when I wet the backs, I am going to make the backs a little damp, so that when I work it, that the ink softens a little bit along with the paper. Because right now I'm getting these sort of brush stroke edges. So you can see this is a pretty simple technique. Hey, Martina. I caught you. The delay on this is super long, so it's probably about 30 seconds between me saying something and you hearing it. So hopefully I catch you before you move on. Lots of live videos out there at the moment. There's lots of people putting great content out. So encourage you all to check out your favorite artists and see what they're doing, because I'm sure they're providing something for you to look at. So there's the campfire. That's the crackling campfire, and this is the rustic wilderness. This is the new color that he came out with for, oh, you know what? That's the oxide. That was my, so there's my case in point. You can't even see it. That was the oxide. It's not very visible. Whereas this is just the distress ink, so the dye version of it. And look at the difference. So that's a great example of how the dye and distress ink, same color, right? But the two products have very different behaviors. Okay, so I have tipped on my pieces, and now I'm going to shape them. I am going to spritz them first, both sides. Not soak them, just get them a little damp. And I'm going to just go in here and you just roll the tool around the paper. You don't want to push too hard. It's better to start carefully and, you know, add more pressure as you feel the paper can take it, but you don't want to overdo it. Now, poinsettias have sort of a papery, crumpled look. So these ones, you know, the paper getting crumply looking is actually accurate for a poinsettia. So, and you can go as crazy as you want. You can go, you know, leave it fairly flat, or you can go in there and get pretty dimensional. So you're going to do it on each piece. And, oh, so let's see. Yeah. As you get more comfortable too, you can kind of see how much more pressure you can put on it. You know, that's a little more of a wet spot, so I'm going to be careful not to rub into that because I think we'll tear it. But, and then you can use the detail. There's a detail tip that comes with this. So if you really want to get in there and make it look veiny, and if you have a leaf that you want to sort of, you know, score in a way that really makes it look veiny, you can do that with the smaller tool. So I'm just going to do this to each one. All of these things that I have are in stock and are available online. Craftinessonline.com is my website. You can get to my shop that way, or you can go directly to the shop, Craftiness Online shop, if you want to. But you can go, Craftiness Online is my main space that you can go and you can get everywhere from there. So craftinessonline.com, and you can check out. You can find the dies, and you can find the ink pads. You can find paint markers if you happen to be looking for paint markers. You can find all the dimensional things I'm going to be using today. You can find the heartfelt tools. There might not be pictures for this, but just know that this is the flower forming kit. I'm still playing catch up on my website with all my photographs. A lot of main categories are pretty filled out, but now this one's smaller, so I'm actually going to use the smaller bulb on this one. And you know, if I had time, I would let this dry, but I'll end up gluing this together in a second. We'll do the leaves though while we're here. Let's see if I can get that veiny effect that I was talking about. So I'm just going to switch out the small one and go for the smaller one. And then I was really trying to, oops, see, I dug a little too hard. No, I am not precise enough for that. I'm going to have to bury that underneath the flower so you don't see it. I got this a little too wet, so rather than rub, I'm just going to push. And that's going to give it that flowery look. So I'm just going to lightly spritz this one. Yeah. Don't want to get it so wet that just the pressure goes right through it. Okay, so now all of these have been shaped. So I'm just literally going to just glue them together in sequence using my favorite Eileen's craft glue, the one that sits on its head. This is a well-loved bottle, obviously. Kind of the bell poinsettia gets together. And then I've seen people take their flowers and crumple them in their hands and then uncrumple them. I will admit I'm not brave enough to do that. If you can see this, there's a little glue there, but that will dry clear. And it doesn't really matter because I'm going to be covering it up anyway. So now I'm going to put my leaves on. And yeah, that little mess up's going to get well covered. Okay, so now I'm just going to add a little bit of embellishment, and I've got 2-dimensional glues here. I've got my liquid pearls, and I don't have my glasses, so I'm going to, oh, this is ancient gold. I can actually read that, but, and then Stickles is goldenrod. There you go. There's hope for me yet. And I'm just going to fill this in kind of messily. You can see that. And then what I love to do is take a little bit, some of the embellishments on this. It's pretty simple, but I just added some little sparkly dots. And it just gives it a little visual interest. Just here and there. Adding a little sparkle. Not going overboard, but trying to keep it a little balanced so that there isn't any one corner that's now, one thing to remember is the dimensional glue, it takes a little while to dry, to be honest. And so you want to be really careful moving the flour around while that's happening. I'm going to go ahead and just squish some glue down and put this in place like this. And then I'm going to hit some corners with the sparkles as well. There we go. It's that simple. Let's see if I can get this nice and focused for you. So this is my gift card. I could go and I could have actually put the points on a band so it held the box shut, or I could have, embossed the basic box. I did actually try that with this. This paper was a little too thin for that treatment. So, but if you have a nice sturdy cardstock like the stuff I sell in the store, that would work with it really well. But I hope you enjoyed the tutorial and that you're inspired that this is not that hard to do and that you too can create beautiful gift boxes. I'm giving away these for free if you purchase a gift card more than $75 or more. You get one of these cards or one of these boxes for free. So let's see. Where am I? I'm going to go to Zoom and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this so that I can say goodbye and Merry Christmas. I will not have a live on Friday, but I do have a class on Saturday if you're interested. It's called Reflections. I named it Reflections. It is art journaling, but we're going to start with a little reflective moment before we actually start. So bringing in more intentionality now that some of you have some of the tools for the mixed media piece. All right, well, stay safe, everybody. Stay well, and I will see you soon. Bye.